All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is going to be the next lecture in the series, but we are going to just practice solving equations in this lecture. We're just going to practice some solving equations. So, I want you guys to write these equations down and then pause the video and attempt to solve them. Okay, if you get stuck, keep struggling for a minute, and then if you need to, go ahead and play the video and watch up to the point where you're stuck. Okay, but if y'all do this, I promise you'll be better by the end. Okay, we're just going to go through 3 problems today. I do expect them to be in your notes, so you will need to turn this in as a notes assignment. The first problem we're going to do is 5p minus 14 equals 8p plus 4, and we're going to solve this for the variable p. Okay? So, I know out of my 5 steps, I know that there's no distribution on either side of this, so we're going to skip that one. I know that if we look at just the left-hand side, just over here, we can't combine any like terms. Same thing over here, we can't combine any like terms. Okay, so we're good there. Alright, so the next thing is to get all the variables to one side. So, in order to do that, I'm going to move this 5p over here. So I'm going to subtract, because it's positive, subtract 5p from both sides. Okay? And these cancel out. So our new equation is going to be negative 14 equals 3p, because 8p minus 5p is 3p, plus 4. Okay. Now, since all of my variables are on the same side, all my p's are on the right side, so now I need to move all my non-variables to the other side. Okay, in order to do that, we're going to subtract this guy, this positive 4, so I want to subtract 4 from both sides. Okay? And the reason we're subtracting 4 is because we want to use the inverse operation. Right now it's added, so we want to do the opposite of adding 4, which is subtract 4. You got to do it to both sides. So the new equation becomes negative 18 equals 3p. Now I can worry about what's attached to this p, this 3 guy. Now I can worry about him because there's nothing else over here. There's no other terms. Okay, so we're going to get p by itself. How are we going to do that? We're going to, right now we have 3 times p, so we're multiplying by 3 here. Now I want to do the inverse or opposite of that, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. Okay, we're going to divide both sides by 3. And once we do that, these 3's will cancel out. Negative 18 divided by 3 is going to be negative 6. And on the right, we just have p left. So there's our answer. Negative 6 equals p. All right. Let's move on to the next example. Okay, this one looks a little more tedious. It's really not. It's got a few more steps. Okay, so go ahead and write it down, and then pause the video, and I want you to see if you can solve it. Okay. Welcome back from the paused video, and now we're going to solve this guy. So the first step is to distribute. Okay, number 1 in our 5 steps of solving is to distribute. So I'm going to distribute the negative 3 here. I'm going to distribute this. Negative 3 times 4x is negative 12x. Negative 3 times positive 3 is minus 9. And then I'm going to bring down everything else I didn't touch. Okay, everything else. So plus 4, 6x plus 1 equals 43. Okay, now let's look back at step number 1 because we still have parentheses. So we have to distribute again. We're going to distribute to 4 this time. We're going to distribute the 4. So now, got positive 4 times 6x, that's positive plus 24x. Positive 4 times 1, positive 1, that's plus 4. And then I'm going to bring down everything else I did not touch. So 9, 12x equals 43. Now, step 2 in solving equations is going to be combining like terms. We know on this side I don't have any like terms. We know that, okay? But what about the other side of the equal sign? Over here, do we have like terms? We certainly do. So I have to combine those guys. So here we go. We're going to combine negative 12x and positive 24x. Okay, we're going to combine this guy and that guy. Okay, negative 12x plus 24 is going to give me a positive 12x. Okay, and then bring down everything else I didn't touch. Minus 9 plus 4 equals 43. Okay. Now we have 2 more like terms, so we have to continue combining like terms until we can't anymore on this left-hand side of the equal sign. So now we're going to combine negative 9 plus 4. We're going to combine this and that. Okay. So over here I have 12x, and then negative 9 plus 4 is going to be negative or minus 5 equals 43. Okay. So now that we've got those combined, okay, this is what we were left with. After the first 2 steps, it looks a lot better. Okay, after my first 2 steps. So now I would like to start the actual solving process. Before we were just simplifying on either side of the equation. So now we're going to get all the variables to the same side. But that is already done, right? We only have x's on this left-hand side. Cool. So next, it would be get all the non-variables to the other side. So we're going to, here I have a non-variable with the x, and I want to move that guy over here. So we're going to add, do the opposite. Right now it's subtracted by 5, so we're going to do the opposite, add 5 to both sides. And what we're left with is 12x equals 48. Okay, now I can start dealing with what's attached to x here because there's no other terms over here. I don't have plus or minus anything. Okay, so now I can deal with what's multiplied or divided by x over here. And how do we get rid of this 12 that's multiplied by x? We're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide both sides by 12. So divide both sides by 12. And that's going to give us, because these 12s are cancel, you'll get x equals 4. Sorry. X equals 4. Brain fart. Okay. Now, let's look at the last example, okay, the very last one. This one's going to look a little different because we've got a fraction here. Don't be alarmed. Don't freak out. Fractions are fine. Okay. Now, I still want to go with my standard stuff. So first, I'm going to make sure there's no parentheses. Distribute everything. Do we have any parentheses? No, we don't. Okay, the next thing is to make sure that on either side of the equal sign, we combine all like terms. So any like terms over here? No, because 3 doesn't have an x, so these aren't like terms. What about over here? There's just one term, just the 9, so no. There we go. Now we're going to get all of the x's, all the variables, to the same side of the equation. Well, that's already done too. Look, the only side of the equation that has a variable is this left side, so we're good there. Now we're going to get everything else that's not a variable to the other side of the equation. So we have to take care of this positive 3 here. And how am I going to get rid of this positive 3? Well, I'm going to do the opposite of adding 3, which is what you see that as. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. Okay, subtract 3, subtract 3. All right, and that's going to leave us with 4 over 7 equals 9, because these cancel. So then we're going to have 9 minus 3 is 6. 407x equals 6. Okay, now I want to get rid of this fraction. And what this fraction really says, let me resize this so you can see it's 4/7 times x, right, equals 6. So I need to get rid of this fraction, but we're going to do it one piece at a time. We're going to get rid of this bottom piece first. Okay, so right now I'm dividing by 7. And how do I do the opposite of that? How do I do the opposite of dividing by 7? Well, I'm going to multiply both sides by 7. Okay, multiply both sides by 7. And what happens is, when we do that, this 7 and this 7 will cancel. Okay, and what you're left with is 4 times x equals 42. Okay. So now it looks like something we're used to handling. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's divide. Okay, we're going to give x by itself. So now we got to do the opposite of multiplying by 4. Divide both sides by 4. Okay. You'll notice that these 4's cancel out, and you're left with x equals 42 over 4. Now, we can simplify this, right? So we are. So we're going to simplify this, put this in the simplest form, okay? We're going to reduce this fraction by a factor of 2. So if we divide both the top and bottom by 2, you will get x equals 21 over 2. Okay? And that's simplify. Simplifying the fraction. All right. That's it. Make sure you take a picture and upload your notes.